Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me clearly? Okay, 4 yeses. What about others? Can you guys hear me? Good evening. Good evening to all of you. People who are in a different time zone in US. Good morning. Glad to be here. I see people are joining in. How are you guys doing? Saturday evening, auspicious time to have this session. क्या चल रहा है? Celebrating Onam. Is it Onam or Onam? Raining. Yeah, it's raining since morning. Very, very pleasant weather in Delhi. Stressing out. That's why you are here. Raining and Maggie. Wow, that's a good combination. Generally, we Punjabis have pakoras. It's raining time, so let's have some pakoras. I was watching Liverpool game. So you are taking time out of your Liverpool game to attend this? Good to know that. Feeling so important. Yes, I'm doing very well, Sanya. Inactivity leading to stress, stress leading to inactivity. Vicious cycle. Yeah. Life is all about cycles, right? You can be a vicious cycle or you can be in a virtuous cycle. Self is a cycle. When you're doing well, you're motivated, you continue doing well. When doing bad, you feel depressed, then you continue doing bad. Right? This is the case in all aspects of life, not just GMAT or career. In terms of relationships also, right? In all aspects. Have my exam schedule in the coming week. How to get rid of exam anxiety. क्या करना है? Carry on with the anxiety. Is it so bad? Stress about exam schedule next week. You guys are happy, right? Shreya Meher. Why do you worry about anxiety? Just don't worry about it. Let it be there. You continue doing your work. Right? Make peace with the anxiety. No? Can't that happen? I'm waiting for a response. Meher. Meher is a very beautiful name. Does it mean grace? Meher means, what does it mean? I had a bad experience last time. Blessing. Hmm. Yeah, I was missing that word. तुम्हारा तो नाम ही blessing है, right? Why do you worry? When I paid for the exam, couldn't complete the quant section. That fear is still there. कर लेना यार इस बारे. Who is stopping you? Worried of failure. Yeah. So you worry about failure, so make the failure more probable, and then you fail, then you become more worried about failure. It's a vicious cycle. Okay. So we are going to talk about some of these aspects. Probably I'll first, for the first part of this session, I'll be talking about self-doubt and self-judgment, which is probably the most common theme that stood out from all the messages that I received for this particular webinar. Some of you really, as one lady said, poured out your hearts. So some of you did that. Some of you were very, very brief. So panic attacks or anxiety, that's it. So, but some of you were really elaborate in sharing what all you are going through. But of all the messages that I received, one theme was very common in terms of the theme was essentially about self-doubt, uh, self-judgment, that whether I can ever get there. And of course, it manifests in many different ways. So that is a theme that I'm going to talk about in the first part of this session. I'm not sure how much time that's going to take. That depends upon kitne flow mein main chala jata hu. Then I'm probably going to discuss a couple of messages which were more elaborate, more on the emotion aspect. And then I'm going to open the floor. And then you guys, especially if you guys want to just speak up and talk to me, we can do that. I have seen in previous webinars, people choose to stay anonymous for some reason while discussing about the emotional aspect. You need not, everybody goes through the same issues. So you can just openly share. But even if you want to stay anonymous, you can still talk by changing your display name here, so nobody would know who is talking. So last time I had a PPT prepared. This time I don't have a PPT because I have written a few points that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to share with you some of the perspectives that I believe can help you, some of the perspectives that have helped me to an extent in my life, because these are whatever emotional issues that you guys are going through. Okay, first of all, this question that, do you think these issues are whatever emotional issues, anxiety, stress, and all that, whatever you're going through, self-doubt and all that, do you think these are very specific to GMAT? Yes, no, you can use the reactions to share your response. Not sure. Or you can use a chat window. Do you think this is very specific to the GMAT? Or these manifest in other aspects of life also? So these are not, so that's what I also think, that these are not specific to GMAT. Right. And that's a couple of people mentioned, and that's something that I agree, that GMAT has intensified, right? We all face these issues, anxiety, stress, self-doubt, and all that in other aspects of life also. But this of course becomes amplified for a lot of people when it comes to GMAT. So why do you think it is intensified or amplified in the context of GMAT? Why do you think that's the case? more attached to the outcome. So you are less attached to other outcomes. Okay, that could be one reason. Because it's an important aspect, right? So one is you are more attached. Second is it's important. So expensive makes it more attached because you don't want to fail because you have to pay the fee again, right? Uh, Fear of multiple attempts. So why is there a fear? Because you'll end up wasting time. It's close to heart. Okay, so you are very attached. Months of preparation, aspiration. Uh, so, okay, so you already invested enough time now. So you are attached to it. That's why. Fear of not being able to retain. Okay. It seems the only option to get, and that so it's very important, Shreya. That's what you are saying. Raises self-doubt, no matter how much practice, I'll not be ready. Hmm. So my question was, why do you think it has this stress, anxiety, and these? Some people also end up getting panic attacks, a lot of self-doubt. Why this is intensified in the context of GMAT? Comparison with others, everybody is overachiever. Treated this as a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. So you already thought that it's a long term, still you think it's something is missing out. Months and months of preparation, giving it all, still not able to score. So basically, you have invested a lot of time. Now you really want to get it done. Essentially, so now you want the outcome to happen, and that's why you are very stressed. Is it? Should it be that you think we really want the outcome to happen, but it's still uncertain? So that's what leads to anxiety and stress. Fear of failure, family pressure, Indian society. Right. So your fear of failure, right? So worried that you will fail. I think that's what somebody started with saying. So we don't want to fail. Uh, hmm. Right. So we don't want to fail essentially means we want to succeed, which means we are attached to a particular outcome. And second is, as somebody says, an outcome is also very important. And the third is, of course, uh, some of you probably hinted towards that the outcome is uncertain also, right? It's a challenging thing for many of you, or probably all of you who are here. So it doesn't this level of stress, anxiety doesn't come in other aspects of life because they are not important. Probably some things are not important. So you are like, nahi hua, nahi hua, chhod denge. They are not important. Secondly, or it could be that they are not very uncertain. You're like, "Ye to ho hi jayega, karenge to," right? So here it's both. It's important. It's also very uncertain because it's very challenging. It is not something that is easy for you. So it is hard, and at the same time, it's important. So I think these are the two aspects which really lead to a lot of anxiety. Anxiety essentially is a result of how important it is and how uncertain it is. That's my theory. Okay. My theory is essentially anxiety, stress is a result of how important If something is not important, then doesn't matter. You just don't care. You'll not get anxious. You can make very insignificant things also important. That's a different thing. But the point is, it should be important to you, right? For example, if somebody is tossing a coin just to figure out which ice cream you will eat, you will make it very important. Then you're like, oh, wow, whether it's come up heads or tails. So one thing is, it's important for you. And second, it has to be uncertain. The greater the level of uncertainty and the greater the importance, the more stressed you become. Any other factor that I'm missing, or do you think these are the two factors? I'm trying to see whether I'm missing any factor. Importance and the uncertainty part. So now whether you've invested so much time, it essentially means it's very important to you now. हाँ तो ना कुछ तो बोलो. Do you agree, or are you able to think of any other parameter that leads to stress? So yeah, when your self-image, when you attach your worth to it, then of course it becomes extremely important, right? So essentially the point is it's important for you. And part of the reason it's important for you is now your worth is attached to it. So how many of you think that you attach your worth to a large extent to your GMAT score? So my question is, how many of you attach to a large extent your worth to your GMAT score? So right, so people who attach their worth, their whole existence comes in question, and which I believe a lot of people do, then of course you have a big problem at hand, because your whole worth is at question here. So you have a big problem, right? Something is really, really important to you, but at the same time, it's also very, very challenging, right? It's a big problem, not a small problem. So when you have a big problem, do you want to become a part of the problem? Or do you want to be a part of the solution? If you have a big problem, you want to be a part of the solution, or you want to be a part of the problem? What about others? Thinking about it. I'll really appreciate if you guys participate. That will also motivate me. Right? You will want to be a part of the solution, right? Already the problem is very big. Why do you want to be a part of the problem? Magnify the problem even more. So you want to be a part of the problem. Think about it. by the way you are reacting to the problem, that it's uncertain and all that, you're getting anxious, stressed out, are you making the problem bigger or are you creating a solution to the problem? Problem to solve nahi ho rahi hai, for sure. I hope you guys understand some Hindi. Feel में जब मैं आता हूँ, then I speak in Hindi. Okay. So the problem is not getting solved by the way you are reacting. It's only becoming bigger. पहले तो जो प्रॉब्लम थी तो GMAT थी, राइट? क्वांट नहीं हो रहा, वर्बल नहीं हो रहा, एंड नाउ अपने आप को मैनेज नहीं कर पा रहे, अब पूरा दिन परेशान रहते हैं, डोंट फील लाइक स्टडिंग, राइट? You end up wasting a lot of time just dealing with your emotions. परेशान हैं, दुखी हैं, you have to watch Netflix क्योंकि इतना परेशान हो चुके हैं क्वेश्चन कर करके, राइट? That you can't spend any more time looking at that bloody verbal question again, right? Essentially, you have become a part of the problem. कि प्रॉब्लम इतनी बड़ी है, you thought इतनी बड़ी है, तो why not make it bigger? जब इतनी बड़ी हो ही गई है, और बड़ी सही. You thought कि चलो अब तो दुनिया भर की टेंशन लेते हैं. Of course, right? Of course, some of you may say कि नहीं, this is not in our hands, right? हम जानबूझ के थोड़े ना परेशान हो रहे, right? But the point is, परेशान तो हो रहे हो. Now जानबूझ के नहीं, so it's a habit for you. It's a habitual reaction you have, right? जानबूझ के मतलब you are consciously not deciding कि आज तो मैं परेशान ही रहूंगा पूरा दिन. You're not making that conscious decision कि okay, from today onwards, every 2 hours, I'll cry. That's not, you are not making that conscious decision to do that. कि every time I get a verbal question wrong, I'll cry. That's not a conscious decision. That's a habitual thing now for you. कि habit ही बन चुकी है. It just happens so naturally. जैसी problem देखी, oh, let's become a part of the problem. Right? It's a habit. It's not a conscious decision that you are making. It's just happening. That's the way you have been reacting to the problem so far in your life. It's just that so far you have not been facing this big problems. GMAT happens to be a big problem. छोटी छोटी प्रॉब्लम्स आती थी, you would suffer a bit, थोड़ा बहुत सफर यहाँ कर लिया, थोड़ा बहुत वहाँ कर लिया, but चल रही है लाइफ, राइट? इतनी सफरिंग नहीं है that we have to change something. We just carry on with the life. We just party a bit, we just eat and drink and all that. Life chal rahi hai because suffering is not at that level that we think of making some change to our lives. But then GMAT comes. It could be some other challenge comes. Right? It's not specific to GMAT, as you guys agreed. It's essentially, the problem is it's very important, and at the same time, it's very uncertain. It's very challenging for you. It could be that tomorrow you get a job in a company where it's very challenging, but at the same time, you want to succeed. That is how you're going to respond. The way you're responding to this GMAT thing here. You just panic. Oh, nahi ho raha, nahi ho raha. You are going to become a part of the problem even then, because this is not specific to GMAT. This is the way you respond to any challenge in life. Sorry for being harsh, but that's the way it is. Right? It's not specific to GMAT. कि चलो GMAT में struggle है. Once GMAT is over, our life will be settled. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It's just that there are other challenges in life which are not as significant as this challenge of GMAT. So the level of suffering is limited. So you suffer, you keep suffering day in day out. छोटा छोटा suffering चलती रहती है. Some colleague ने कुछ बोल दिया, job में कुछ हो गया, family में कुछ हो गया. There are challenges, right? It's not that GMAT is the only challenge you have in your life. There are other challenges also, as somebody is saying, family pressure and all that. There are those problems that you have to tackle in your daily life. But the way you respond is you become a part of the problem. वो challenge तो है ही है, and now you just behave in a reactive way, in a negative way towards it. You're not able to think sensibly. Okay, this is the challenge. This is what I need to address. Let me think about it. How can I address it to the best of my ability? That's not how it goes. Challenge आ गया, oh shit, and all that. A lot of times you end up cursing others. उसकी वजह से मेरी life में problem है. But this time you can't generally, or you may find some tutor. Yes, CJ ने गलत पढ़ा. I could have succeeded. This guy told me the other way around. So fundamentally, challenges life में और भी बहुत है, and you are suffering in those challenges also. It's just that ये challenge बड़ा आ गया, और life में अभी अकेला तो बड़ा challenge है नहीं, और भी आएंगे, आए भी होंगे past में. That is the way कि हम we suffer in a big way, and then we just carry on. But the only thing is this suffering, anxiety, stress, panic attacks, are these a necessary component of life? How do I know? Maybe, may not be. But do you have alternate ways to react to situations? I think probably yes. Right? The way you are reacting to the situation, is this the only way you can react? No. Let's say you took your mock and you scored a, let's say, 200. 200 तो नहीं आया होगा किसी का. Let's say you score 200 on that. Now you have a big task at hand, right? You have 200 on the screen, and you actually aim to get a 720. Let's say you have a 520 improvement to make. It's a big task. You should, right, fold up your sleeves, get down to work. Bhaiya, daily I have to invest the maximum time. एक moment भी waste नहीं करना. It's a huge task in front of you. This is also a reaction you can have. Bhaiya, I'm now extremely dedicated towards it. But the kind of reaction that a lot of us have is, oh shit, 200 आ गया, मेरे बस का तो नहीं है, ये तो ना हो पाए. And then you indulge in negativity, right? कि oh shit, उसका इतना आया, उसका उतना आया, मेरा 200, am I worth it, and all that. Get into all that negativity. There is no problem with negativity. आराम से you enjoy it. Right? जितना enjoy करना है कर लो negativity को. But my only point is that's not the only reaction possible to the situation. That's what I want you to just entertain. Okay, I'm not here to preach. I'm just trying to give you an alternate way of looking at things. That is not the only way you can react. Okay, you got 200 या पिछले 10 दिन से you are solving CR questions, अभी भी ठीक नहीं हो रहे हैं. So you have a problem at hand, right? Do your best to solve it. Experts replies पढ़ो, articles पढ़ो. Why do you need to panic? Or is panicking going to solve the problem? No, but that's the natural reaction you have. You just panic. The fundamental thing is, ठीक है, that's fine, you panic, because that's the way you have been responding to situations in the past. Right? Is that a habitual reaction? Or is that a conscious choice you are making to panic? Is it out of habit? या भगवान ने ही दिया है कि हमेशा पैनिक ही होना चाहिए ऐसी सिचुएशन में, तो हम क्या करें अब? भगवान की तो हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते. Others? Yes and no. That's a very good response. Can you elaborate a bit on that? What about others? Habitual है या conscious है या you think ये तो God given है? Situational, of course. I'm not saying it's not situational. There are certain situations that would evoke those kind of reactions. Not saying every time you're panicking. Right? Basically, I believe that's habitual. That's a way. Why we naturally panic is because that's the way we have been responding to such situations in the past. That's the way we respond. Okay, it's not, I'll not get into God given, kya God given hai. But if you think it's God given, then you are saying it cannot be changed. I don't think so. I think it can be changed. Okay, that's why I'll call it habitual, not God given. So it's not a conscious choice, and I'll discard the idea that it's God given because I want to make it change. So it's a habitual choice you are making. Habits could be because of the way you have been responding in the past, or they could have built by just looking at how people responded around you, by looking at even movies, by looking at whatever exposure you have had to life so far. So that has become your habit now. That's fine. जो बन गई habit so बन गई, अब क्या करें? Right? So your natural reaction you cannot change. For example, when I teach GMAT, there are ways people read. Have to, a lot of times people who are my students here, probably they can see, they can relate that. A lot of times I ask people to change the way they read. Okay. Which is a very difficult thing to do because they have been reading like that for years. Okay, now is it better? Sudha, I was just playing with the mic. So, okay. So what I was saying is that I ask people to change their reading habits. Okay. So whatever the way you have been reading so far is the way you have been reading so far. Now, if you want to really take your score to the next level, you have to change the way you read. Okay. And that has to come very deliberately. That because your natural reaction would be to read it in the way you have been reading in the past. कि वैसे इधर पढ़ लोगे and then you समझ तो नहीं आया मुझे. तो उसको समझ के पढ़ना is a habit that any person who doesn't have that habit has to inculcate over a period of time by being very, very conscious. Okay, this is the way I'm supposed to read. This is the right way to read. Similarly, right now we are at a stage जब हमारे साथ बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आती है, then we just panic and become a part of the problem. Chalo, let's make the problem even bigger. That's the way we respond to situations right now. Now the question I have is, do you want to be like this 10 years from now, कि जब भी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आनी शुरू हो, then you say कि चलो, let me add. Nobody wants to be like that. कि right कि बूढ़े होते जा रहे हैं, but we are still that reactive. जैसी कुछ challenging situation आती, we panic and we are like क्या करें, right? We want to be a part of the solution. We will do whatever best we can. It may not be that we are always able to solve the problems, but at least we are a part of the solution. We are not a part of the problem, and we will do the best that we can. We can't do the best that is possible in the world. That is not in our hands, but we'll do the best that we can. That's the person we would like to be. The question is, what are you doing in your life to become a person like that? Anybody taking any steps towards that would want to share? What changes or what things are you doing in your life to become a person like that, who doesn't become a part of the problem, who's a part of the solution? Usko jitni marji problem mein dal do, he is never a part of the problem. Okay, Jagtej is doing meditation. Yoga and meditation, Kashish, that probably I'll talk about some other time or towards the end. Making pep talks, okay, making one conscious effort towards an activity, trying to read a few books that highlight correct habits, started blogging to stop my little bit of my overthinking, pen down my thoughts, okay, that helps you. Swim, okay, so that calms you down probably. Is that it? Weightlifting to stop overthinking. So if you look back at your life, I'm not sure how much memory you would have, but over the last 10 years, do you see a considerable change in the way you respond to situations? So if you're seeing changes, then of course, first thing is keep doing those things. But at the same time, you also need to evaluate, are those things enough for you to move to the next level? Or those things could just get you to where you are right now. Okay, just in GMAT also, right? Probably you're solving 2 questions a day. You are improving. But are 2 questions a day going to lead to your target score in the next 1 year? That's what you need to evaluate. And are you doing enough to get to your target score within a reasonable amount of time? Similarly, in this aspect also, is the level of suffering going down in your life at a pace which is reasonable for you? If not, then probably you need to do more. We need to explore other avenues. Okay, now I'll talk about a few things which I have written down, which I haven't talked so far. The first question, which is a part of self-doubt people have, is, क्या मेरा कभी भी हो पाएगा? Can I ever get to my target score? भगवान ही जानता है यार, how do I know? So now there are 2 kinds. two kinds of mindset. I'm not sure whether you have heard. There is a very famous book by Carol Dweck. Mindset is the name of the book. It essentially talks about, the entire book is about a single idea, which is fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset is essentially that कि जो भी है सो है. Wherever you are, whatever skills you have, those are fixed. It's a fixed mindset. Okay, that जितनी skills हैं, जितनी solving capability है, जितनी critical thinking ability है, whatever there is, you think it's fixed, or it can only slightly bit change. Okay. And then there is a growth mindset, which essentially means that there is no upper limit, that one can continuously grow. That's a growth mindset. That you don't believe in a fixed capability, you believe in growth. That the growth may be slow, maybe fast, but there is always growth possible. And these two perspectives, essentially the book dictates or shares, not dictates, the book shares how these perspectives can influence almost every aspect of our lives. Okay, so probably you can have a look at that book, but essentially to answer that question, can I ever get that score? It's fundamentally rooted in the fixed mindset. That, okay, there is a certain capability that I can reach. Can I ever reach there? Why not? Growth is always possible. Even if you read scientific journals, you don't need to believe in any pep talk and all that. Now, neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means plasticity essentially is about plastic, just is flexible. Basically, they are now talking about neuroplasticity, which essentially means mind is flexible. Because there was a scientists used to believe, probably 2 decades earlier, that a person's mind grows only till a certain age. After that, it just stagnates. Now that theory has been disproved, and now it is scientifically proven to a large extent that a person never stops growing. Okay, beyond 40, beyond 50, it's always changing, not just what you can learn and your skills, even the structure, physical structure of your brain changes. Okay, so the fundamental question that, can I ever get there? Essentially, you don't need to worry about that. Okay, essentially, growth is always possible. And secondly, now you may think, but can I get there in 6 months? No, the famous is, can I get there in 2 weeks or 2 months? Those are more popular questions. That is entirely possible, that 2 mahine mein to na ho paaye. Okay, because whatever time learnings take, it takes. You can reduce the amount of time you need by increasing the effort, by increasing the number of hours, by increasing your focus in those hours, right? It's not just the number of hours. How much attentive, how much focused you are in those hours, that also matters significantly. So you can reduce the number of months it takes by doing a lot more hours, being a lot more focused, but to a limited extent, right? You can't just, agar tumhe 2 saal lagne the, you can't just bring down to 2 months, right? There is a quote, not a quote, there is a saying that a product manager is a person who believes that 9 women can deliver a baby in 1 month. Time lagna hai, right? So lagna hai needs a certain time. You may think, you may heard of, for example, I had a student who was doing extremely well in her career. She just had 3-4 years of experience. But she had done very well in her career. She was working with the top management of a large company, and she was helping them strategize. So she was doing very well in her career. So when she met me, she had just 35 on verbal, which essentially means around 30 percentile or something. So when she met me, she was like, okay, I have to get to a quant 49 and I have 2 months. 2 mein 35 to 49, even if you work, even if you study full time, I don't think that's possible. So she said, but failure is not an option. I have to do. And failure is not an option for you, but failure is always an option in the universe. And that's the case, right? You may all be very pep talked, very fully energized. अब तो 2 महीने में करके रहूंगा. जब उसको 6 महीने लगने हैं, right? Just because you are all pep talk, I'll not fail and all that, it's not going to help. You can be motivated. Motivation helps, but you need to be realistic, right? कि कल बोलोगे मैं, okay, I'll be the US president in 1 year. I'm very motivated. It's not going to happen. So similarly, if GMAT requires time and you're thinking I have just 2 months, okay, then fail. That's the point. The universe gives you certain options. For example, the one option is that you spend, let's say, 1 year preparing very diligently and get a 720. That's one option in the universe. The second option in the universe is that you study for 2 months and not get anywhere. Okay, but you want the third option. Yeah, study for 2 months and get a 720. Now that option is not there. Now you just, one thing that people do is they keep bemoaning, yaar ye option kyun nahi hai, ye option kyun nahi hai, why am I not able to get 720 in 2 months? So they keep wasting time thinking about scenarios, thinking about options that are not available to them. That's one use of your energy. 2 महीने you could have prepared and probably covered 20% of your journey, right? Probably you need 10 months. So in 2 months, you cover 20% of your journey. But now what you're doing is you want to cover the entire thing in 2 months, or you are just wasting your time thinking ke to nahi ho raha. So you're not even covering 20%. It's very frequent that a lot of people meet me. They have spent 2 years, 3 years preparing and they're still nowhere. And the reason is simply they always create a 3-month or a 4-month or a 6-month plan. They never create a 1-year plan. They never create an 18-month plan. But it is entirely possible that you need an 18-month plan. You need a 1-year plan. Of course, there are people who can get there in 2 months. There are people who can actually score in the 99th percentile even in 2 weeks. But that's because of the way they have studied in the past. So they already had the skill. So they did not have to build these skills when it came to GMAT. But it could be that you have to build those skills. So you need time. So now what? Now you just keep comparing yourself with the other. उसको तो 2 महीने में आ गया था. So ठीक है, उसको 2 महीने में आ गया था. You take 18 months, get done with it and move on in life. But a lot of people just don't move on because they never create a 1 year, 18-month plan. They're always like कि नहीं करूंगा तो 2 महीने में, नहीं तो कभी भी नहीं करूंगा मैं. So वो कभी भी नहीं होता है. Because that thing is probably not supposed to be done in 2 months for you, because you need time. And how much time you need, nobody knows, because nobody knows where you're starting from. The kind of issues that you may face, the kind of skills that you lack, the kind of conceptual understandings that you may not have, nobody knows. Only by doing it do you get to know कि अच्छा इतनी problem है. But once you realize कि मुझे question समझ नहीं आ रहे हैं, then people just panic. Oh, 2 महीने में तो नहीं हो पाएगा. You don't need to panic. ठीक है, it's going to take 18 months. But you devote 18 months, get done with it, move on in life. देखो, in any case, your desire to complete it in 2 months is not helping you in any way, right? अगर वो तो ना help कर रहा हो, then yeah, you keep desiring that. But there are a lot of, many of us actually need much more time because of various reasons. The way we have studied in the past, the kind of education we have, and all that. Okay, there are many reasons. For example, I was just lucky. Okay, that's how I put it. I was just lucky that I studied in a particular way. So when it came to CAT or GMAT, they were like, "Oh, ye kya hai?" Because I just studied in a particular way. I just had a lot of in-depth understanding about these subjects because of the way I studied in the past. And why did I study like that in the past? I was lucky. I don't because there was no guidance as such. As Anita, I had a lot of guidance. कि parents were saying कि नहीं बेटा ऐसे पढ़ना चाहिए. ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. I was a lower middle class. I came from a lower middle class family. My parents were not very educated, so it was just कि I developed interest in math, science. So I was like कि मजा आ रहा है यार, इसको ढंग से पढ़ते हैं. So just I was enjoying it. So I really got into the depth of it because it was fun. It was really, I enjoyed it a lot. And then when it came to CAT and GMAT, they were like, obviously common sense यही है, बिल्कुल सही बात है, ये आंसर होना चाहिए. Now, what was common sense for me takes a lot of preparation for a lot of people. It's not that I did not do any of that preparation. I did that during my school days. I did that during my college days. It's just that now you have to do it. Right? The point is just accept कि हाँ करनी है, कर लेंगे. Let's spend 18 months, 1 year. We don't know. 18 months just in not saying everybody needs 18 months. Somebody may need 2 years also. Somebody may need 1 year. Somebody may need 6 months of dedicated efforts. But if you keep thinking that 2 months is a time, 2 months में तो करके ही रहना है, and you keep realizing कि 2 months में नहीं हो पाएगा, I need more time because I'm leaving questions which are unclear to me, then you're heading for failure. That's not with respect to GMAT. In any aspect of life, if you don't do justice, if you don't follow the process, then doesn't matter how much motivated you are, right? There is a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, by Stephen Covey, which says that you may be very motivated, very energized, very all set. I'll run, not walk, I'll run. And you are running. But if you have the wrong map, let's say you want to travel in Chicago and you have a map of New York. If you are using a wrong map, doesn't matter how much motivated you are, you will still not get there. Similarly, if you are not following the process, if you are not learning from the questions, doesn't matter how much you think, that's not going to help you. And now, a lot of your time is also wasted bemoaning कि मेरा 2 महीने में क्यों नहीं हो रहा, उसका तो हो गया, उसका इतना आ गया, and all that. नहीं आया तुम्हारा, that's a problem. So you need more time. Devote that time, get done with it, move on. But consistently wasting time thinking कि मेरा 2 महीने या 6 महीने या साल में भी नहीं आया. पहली बात तो people who come to me and say कि sir, I've spent 1 year, still मेरा नहीं हुआ. You say कि 1 साल में तो हो जाना चाहिए काफी लोग. But then my next question is, have you really spent that 1 year dedicatedly preparing? You think and say, नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं है. 2 months बीच में मैंने छोड़ दिया था because I was not getting a mock score. And जब मैं पढ़ता भी था, then also I was half the time worried. तो 1 साल भी ढंग से तो नहीं करा है. Right? ये तो होना कि तुमने 1 साल पूरा dedicatedly 4 hours, 3 hours every day, sincere, very focused. तब तो मैं मानो यार 1 साल में then a lot of people, very significant proportion of people should get there to get their target score. But that's not what happens. We are not a part of the solution. We are a part of the problem. And that's not just with respect to GMAT. That's a way in every aspect of our lives. Now, The question is, of course, do we want to remain this way or do we want to consciously change? If you want to consciously change, then you have to start taking steps. These are the life skills. How you respond to any situation in your life, how you respond to any challenge in your life. These are much deeper skills than the GMAT skills. Do you want to remain like this? Challenge aate, you just go off. If not, start building. Now you get panicked. You think, okay, I'm getting panicked. Okay, hold on. Kya ho gaya? Then you again remind yourself that you still have a choice to not panic. Okay, you'll get a natural reaction of panicking because that's a way it's habitual to you or habitual to me also, right? I'm saying here, it's not that I've become I've gone beyond all of these things. But the point is to remind yourself, it's going to be hard, but it is always hard in the beginning. The more you do that, the easier it's going to become. And over a period of time, it is entirely possible that that becomes your natural response, that you always remain a part of the solution. कि जितनी मर्जी problem में डाल दो, you still are a part of the solution. You do your best and then you just leave it. Okay, I've given my best. That's the best I can do. Now, a lot of people get this self-doubt and all that negativity because, okay, here's a question for you. When you get a question wrong, or let's even before that, what is your objective of practicing? When you are practicing, what is your objective? With what objective do you practice questions? To get it right. So your objective is to keep getting questions right. उससे क्या होगा? Actually, that's the problem. Okay. To learn from mistakes. Okay. Okay. You have already diagnosed your problem. Objective is to learn. Do you guys agree? Not agree? When you're practicing, objective is to learn from the questions. Six people agree. Mayor also agrees. Others, you guys agree that the objective is to learn from practice? Baki log don't agree or evaluating? Yeah, agree करना पड़ेगा. Others, क्या हो गया? सो रहे हो? It's a good time to sleep. Do you guys agree that objective of practice is to learn? Chalo, थोड़े और responses आए. Good to see that. Okay. So when you get a question wrong, do you get excited or do you become tensed? When you get a question wrong, you get excited or tensed? Curious. That's more in line with excited. Sad. Curious. So if your objective is to learn, then you should be curious or excited, right? सीखना था यार, मतलब गलत हो गया, वाओ, so something to learn here, my objective is being met, right? This is a question definitely I can learn from. अगर question सही हुआ है, then it's dicey whether there is something to learn or not. Probably there is something to learn from that also, probably not. But गलत हुआ है, for sure there is something to learn, right? So you can be curious, you can be excited. Yes, this question will help me learn. Don't think about it. But if you are getting tensed, essentially the underlying thing is that you're using questions not to learn, you're using questions to continuously assess yourself. Every question is an assessment for you. Yo, sahi ho gaya, oh, I'm doing well. Oh, galat ho gaya, oh shit. So you're continuously assessing yourself. So you're practicing not to learn, you're practicing to continuously assess yourself. Right? That's why you get tense. Oh shit, fir galat ho gaya. Right? So for many of us, from day one, we are assessing. Time ही नहीं दिया सीखने का. It's not that we decided कि okay, for the first 6 months, I'm just going to dedicatedly prepare, excited about the learning process. After 6 months, I'll judge. No, that's not how it happened. From day one, it was like, galat, ye bhi galat, ye bhi galat. Oh shit. So from day one, or let's say from day 2, you are assessing yourself. Every question you are using to judge yourself, not to learn. मतलब अगर ठीक है, I can understand that you have a lot of desire to judge yourself कि बाकी लोग नहीं करते हैं, मैं तो अपने आप को judge करूं, right? Other people are not judging me, they're not criticizing me. Let me do that to myself, right? I'm so dumb. बाकी लोग तो नहीं बोल रहे हैं. Let me call that to myself. That's a kind of self-talk you have. When you get a question wrong, you're like, I'm dumb. This is the kind of self-talk. This is the kind of relationship you have with yourself. Right? If let's say a parent has that kind of relationship with a child, would you call that a loving parent or a good friend? जब भी गलती होती है, that is a dumb guy. That is the kind of relationship you have with yourself. नहीं? Question गलत हुआ, that's a problem. And now you start criticizing your own self. अपने साथ ही we don't have a positive relationship. Right? Let's say if you have a friend who is struggling in whatever aspect of his or her life, would you go and support him or her? Or would you say, oh shit, तेरे से इतना भी नहीं हो रहा? So that is a kind of relationship we have with ourselves also. Right? Questions nahi ho rahe hain. Of course, that's a problem we have. And now we are criticizing ourselves. तो वो हमारे हाथ में थोड़ी ना, right? Whatever we stand, wherever we stand, we stand there. Right? It's not that कि one part of you is consciously deciding to get it wrong. वो नहीं समझ आया, something you missed. Right? So, but even if you have a lot of desire to criticize yourself, कि नहीं, I just can't stop that. This is my favorite pastime. Let's say if that is the case, you don't like watching movies, watching Netflix, you just like to criticize yourself. Then still, can I ask you to hold yourself for 6 months? 6 महीने, give yourself time, then see कि improvement हुई है कि नहीं हुई, then criticize. Yeah, from day one you have to do that. You can't just hold on to your criticism for 6 months. Can you do yourself that favor? or is that too much to ask? Others are evaluating my proposal. Sanya, how? Oh, how is not a question, right? The point is, if you just observe that's what you are doing, just stop doing that. Simple awareness would do, right? Why would you harm yourself deliberately? The reason you are harming yourself deliberately is you're unconscious, habitual ho raha hai, and you're not aware of those habits. You start criticizing yourself. You don't listen to your self-talk. You just get drained out of that or get completely involved in that. You just don't see कि मैं अपने साथ ही क्या कर रही हूँ. If somebody else does, that's a different thing. तुमसे गलत हो रहा है, and instead of solving the problem कि नहीं हो रहा, let's say even if you have taken 1 year of dedicated effort, if you have spent that time, let's say, पहली बात तो I have not met anybody who has really spent 1 year of dedicated effort. You are always like कि करा, जब करा वो भी आधे मन से करा. Let's say even if you have spent 1 year of dedicated effort and you are still at 500 or 600 on GMAT. So now you have a right to criticize yourself. Now you want to completely demolish your self-worth yourself. You can be compassionate. You can choose to be compassionate. I'm not saying that is the only option, but we can choose to be compassionate with ourselves. We may not be compassionate with others. We may not be loving with others. We can be compassionate and loving with ourselves. Ki nahi hua. I've spent a lot of time. I can still choose to love and accept myself. This is where I am, but I'll continue to work hard, do the best that I can. Is that a choice that is not possible? Is that a choice not possible? Kabhi na kabhi to you'll have to make that choice, right? If you want to spend your whole life like this, whenever you struggle, you will be your first judge instead of your first friend, first person, or somebody who compassionately understands. You will be the first one to criticize yourself. देखो इसमें the second question that actually arises in people's mind is कि वो सब ठीक है. I spend 1 year, let's say I create an 18-month plan. I really dedicate myself towards it. So, but will that definitely lead to my target score? Essentially, the person is looking for a guarantee. Guarantee है? नहीं है तो फिर you'll not make that effort, right? मतलब essentially जब तक लाइफ में गारंटी नहीं होगा आउटकम, तब तक we'll not even give our best. That's a question we have, right? A lot of us have कि but sir सब कुछ कर भी लेंगे तब भी हो भी पाएगा, तो who knows? मतलब लाइफ में तो मतलब essentially we are looking for a guarantee. पक्का हो जाएगा, if you give me that guarantee then I'll work. गारंटी तो किसी भी चीज की नहीं है लाइफ में. You may still end up at a 600. It is entirely possible. But so you'll not even try. Is that the person you want to be, who doesn't even try in the face of uncertainty? और certainty कब होती है? Certainty तो सिर्फ उन्हीं चीजों में होती है which are just incremental for you. कि आज 10 किलो उठा सकते हैं तो कल 10 किलो 100 ग्राम उठा लेंगे. That's almost certain कि इतना तो पिक कर ही लोगे. If somebody asks you to pick 20 kgs, you're like, nahi, nahi, nahi. Pata nahi ut payega, nahi ut payega. Why even try? That's the way you'll always respond. If you're looking for certainties तो है नहीं life में. Because the basic fundamental idea is we can just give our best. All of us are worried whether our best will lead to a 720 or a 740. That is not in our hands. That is not in our hands. We can give our best, and by giving our best will also improve over time. Skills build over time. But let's say even after 1.5 years, will your best lead to a 720? We don't know. Everybody's best will lead to a different result. For example, if somebody really works hard and he has certain level of skills, he maybe end up doing really well, end up owning a Mercedes. So his best leads to a Mercedes. And I'm at a certain stage in life where even if I do my best, I'll still be able to manage a Wagon R. So my best leads to a Wagon R, his best leads to a Mercedes. So now, should I stop giving my best, thinking कि उसका best तो Mercedes पे पहुंचता है, my best is just Wagon R, तो साइकिल ही चला लेते हैं. क्या करनी है Wagon R में? Right? That's the only choice we have, whether we'll give our best or not. What our best will lead to is not in our hand. That depends on the circumstances, wherever we stand. Lot of things. आज तक जो हमने लाइफ में करा है, जो हमारे आसपास circumstances, the kind of experiences we have had, the way we have studied and all that. बहुत सारी situations हैं. Where we are, location, the kind of connects we have, whatever. So many things impact what our best can lead to. The only choice we have is whether we'll give our best or not. But many of us spend a lot of our time and energy worrying about that aspect, whether our best will lead to that or not, which is not in our hand. Right? We are wasting our time because वो तो in any case हमारे हाथ में नहीं है. We could have used that time and energy to giving our best. हो सकता है कि वो best may lead to that outcome. हो सकता है may not lead to that outcome. We may need even more time to get to a Mercedes. कि आज Wagon R ही मिली है इस साल तो. Next year we'll probably get a better. Probably after 4 years we'll get to a Mercedes. In 5 years or 10 years. But still, now you may think, I'm taking 10 years to get to a Mercedes. That guy could get a Mercedes in 1 year. Okay. So now you went to spend the next 10 years bemoaning why you couldn't have Mercedes in 1 year. That's not a choice you have. Or इसमें भी again you can again indulge in negativity by saying, oh, life is so unfair. But this is just your judgment about life. Life is the way it is. Okay. बहुत सारी चीजें you already have. Right? If I ask you to give your hand to me, कि कल तुम्हारा 780 आ जाएगा, just cut your one hand and give it to me. कितनी ही सारी चीजें हैं, hand तो चलो दूर की बात है, कितनी ही सारी चीजें हैं लाइफ में, you would not exchange for a 780 on GMAT. You have all of those things. But कितने दिन you stand up, wake up in the morning and say, wow, I have so much. ठीक है? I'm not getting into gratitude. Of course, you should have that because you just have so many things. And now you're just worrying about GMAT nahi ho raha, and you're ignoring all the things you have. I'm just saying ki when you know that you have certain choices and you don't have certain choices, again, you can indulge in negativity saying, oh, life is so unfair. It is not, or at least, I don't know it is or it is not. That's again my judgment. But the point is, it is still our judgment. This is the way it is. Now you want to indulge in negativity and think your life is so unfair, so I'll not do anything about it. Or you want to do the best that you can. That's the only choice again you have. So now you're listening to all of these things. Probably some of these ideas are new. Some of these you may have already heard many times before. Now, how do you go about implementing or incorporating this? The point is to be consistently aware. For example, GMAT maybe if you want to change your habits, reading habits, or the way you read any argument passage and all that, you have to consistently remind कि ऐसे ही पढ़ना है. Otherwise, you'll go back to your instincts, which is your habits. Similarly, if you want to incorporate these things, you have to consistently remind yourself of these ideas that there are alternative ways to live, that there are alternative ways to respond to situations. One idea I wrote down, so I'll just share, even though it seems a bit out of context right now. But I wrote down this idea that I'll share. So when you are trying to gain others' approval, right? A lot of times people are trying to clear GMAT because they want to get others' approval. चाहे colleagues का approval चाहिए, चाहे family का चाहिए, चाहे किसी का भी चाहिए. So the idea I have for you is that you are trying to love yourself through others. You are trying to gain others' approval so that you deserve your own love. You are trying to gain others' approval so that you can deserve your own love. You need not put that condition. You can just choose to love yourself. जैसे भी हो, you can be fine. बाकी कोई करे ना करे, but you can be loving to yourself. Okay, that's it from my side. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to take up, you guys can take up. So first of all, you don't know my level of patience, but let's say essentially you want to increase your level of patience. The point is to just work towards it. Okay, naturally you're getting impatient, so try to consciously make changes in your life. Try to read books, go through videos, right? जैसे हम normally किसी भी चीज में improve करते हैं, that's the same way with patience. पढ़ो उसके बारे में and then try to incorporate that in your life, one small step at a time. So there is a direct message. It says how to maintain focus during the exam. Focus has multiple aspects. Why you could be distracted. One simple reason is you are overly worried about the outcome, which again is not in your hand. And you're consistently worrying कि score नहीं आएगा. You're consistently evaluating कि ये question सही हुआ गलत हुआ, score आएगा नहीं आएगा. And that's leading to a self-fulfilling prophecy, वो score नहीं आएगा. Because you're just distracted. Again, that's also part of your habit. So, of course, with respect to GMAT, try to change that. But in other aspects of life also, try to become more conscious, more focused. I'm a working professional, almost 8 years gap from study. I'm afraid that even if I'm giving 3 hours daily. So Manor, in how much time you'll not be able to get a good score? 2 years? Might be. It is, of course, possible. You may need even more time. So what? वो तो कोई भी नहीं जानता, right? The only question is whether you will spend your time worrying कि आएगा नहीं आएगा, or you will start doing things. That's the only choice you have. When you left your job and were doing this career transition for one year, did you never have a feeling, but will the outcome be? But if I fail, we'll have to go back to corporate career. नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है मतलब I had those feelings. I was worried, tensed at times, not always, but of course at times I was. There were various reasons. I think it did not inflict a lot of suffering for various reasons. First is just, again, I had some presence of spirituality in my life, which of course was reassuring. Not just that everything will be fine, just that there is a certain level of joy. So you know that can't be taken away, even if you fail financially. Then secondly, I had very limited needs. I knew that I would be good with even 10,000 rupees a month. I had that figure in mind. So it's like कि आय में करके 10,000 तो मैं कमा ही लूंगा कुछ भी करके, ऐसा तो नहीं होगा मैं 10,000 भी ना कमा पाऊँ. It was not a lot of uncertainty for me. Now for many of us the problem is कि we think कि हमें 2 लाख तो चाहिए महीने के, and then of course there is uncertainty, right? 2 lakh, 3 lakh, whatever you think you need. So needs इतनी बढ़ा चुकी हैं, to fulfill that need we have to suffer a lot. तो मेरे साथ वो नहीं था. I was like कि 10,000 रुपये महीने कमा लूंगा, I can manage, I will not marry क्योंकि 10,000 में you can't really run a household. I was like कि 10,000 कमा लूंगा and then I'll just live. I'll not be dependent. That's the only condition I had. I just didn't want to depend on my parents at that age. So like 10,000 कमा लेंगे, 10,000 तो I thought कि कमा ही लेंगे. So I was not that worried. और बाकी सोशल लोग क्या सोचेंगे, लोग बहुत कुछ सोचते हैं भाई, मैं उनके लिए अपनी जिंदगी खराब नहीं कर सकता. When you're preparing, what strategy, how you prepared, that's a different question. Anshul, there are a lot of articles I've written. You can probably read through those. You can check out my blog. Article GMAT के लिए तो बहुत लिखा है मैंने. Thank you for addressing the fundamental, most important part. Dealing with it, medication made me happier, but not just solving. Right, good to know that, Jagdish. Yes, Raghav, I teach quant as well. If you have to point out what all life skills are a must. मतलब मैंने ऐसे कभी सोचा नहीं कि GMAT score के लिए what are life skills. I think a few things that come to my mind is, first fundamentally thing is patience. Patient, and then some level of focus. I think impatience से सारी anxiety आती है. 3 महीने में ही करना. Generally people are not worried कि 5 साल में होगा कि नहीं होगा, 6 महीने में होगा कि नहीं होगा. If you are patient, कोई बात नहीं, हो जाएगा. Can I unmute and ask my question? Yes, why not? Sanya, let me allow that.
Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Just hold on. Let me just change my setting. Yes. Now try.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful session. It was quite insightful. Some things I already knew and many things I learned, but I have one specific question. It was quite hard-hitting when you said that don't seek approval or validation from outside or external factors. Love yourself, learn to love yourself. I am honestly working on it, and I want you to explain me how and why. So should I say, why did you say this statement, and how should I implement it in my life now so that it helps me, obviously, in life and obviously in whatever task I'm taking up in my life, which currently right now my priority is GMAT. So how does this healing helps? Like, what am I doing? किसकी approval ले रही हूँ मैं? क्या कर रही हूँ मैं जिस वजह से आपने ये बोला, because I understand it a little, but I don't understand it also.
Matlab, I think I'm not sure. Your questions was twofold. That one is why did I make that statement, and
Yes.
second was how to.
How do I understand where I'm seeking approval in my GMAT journey so that I understand the root cause of it and, heal that wound inside me of seeking approval outside, and probably just uh, not do that in my GMAT preparation and further in other aspects of my life.
Like a lot of. One second. One second. Okay. So, why did I make that statement? I'm not sure. I was thinking about this webinar. So, this statement came to my mind, I think, uh, for various reasons. I'm not sure क्या exact reason है. Uh, but as far as getting approval is concerned, I think unconsciously, there are layers and layers of our intentions also. So, अभी भी जैसे you said कि I can love myself, that's fine, and that will help me in achieving the task, right?
Yeah.
But achieving the task you think is going to get you a good experience of life. Essentially, what you're seeking is not task, not anything outside. You're seeking something internal experience of life. GMAT is कुछ भी है, right? If you love yourself, that's an experience of life. You're thinking उससे भी बाहर कुछ achieve होगा, right? Let's say by loving yourself, you will not achieve anything in life. So
That's okay. At least I'll be happy.
right, essentially देखो कोई भी whatever we are doing, we're seeking an experience of life. These
Right.
whatever outer circumstances we are seeking, or money, or career, and all that, essentially these are for our experience of life. If I tell you as a guarantee, if you do your MBA, you'll definitely be very miserable in life. Will you do that?
No.
At least consciously, you should not do that.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever we are doing, we are seeking happiness. Right? It's a positive experience of life that we are seeking. If you have a positive experience of life, naturally you will be at your best. Right? We are not able to give our best because we are having that always stressed out, worried, and all that. Of course, the task or outer outcome that you are trying to achieve outside will also be helped, but that is still secondary. Main thing is the kind of experience you are having of life. अब हो क्या गया ultimately, there are layers and layers. तो हमने कहीं ना कहीं फिक्स कर लिया कि only by arranging outer circumstances can we be happy. अगर outer circumstances ऐसी रहेंगे तब तो I deserve to be miserable. That's an idea that we have accepted, and it's deeply accepted. जब तक outer circumstances are not arranged in a particular way, we are bound to be miserable. But that's just an idea. Nobody is stopping you to love yourself or be happy right now. मतलब कौन रोक रहा है तुम्हें आगे? Right? I'm not sure whether you follow Sadhguru, but essentially he says everybody is now on self-help. Self-help means you don't need anybody to make you miserable. हम अपने आप ही अपने आप को इतना miserable बना सकते हैं. We don't need anybody else. ऐसा नहीं है कोई आगे हमारे को चाकू मार रहा है, लूट रहा है, and every time there is somebody गालियां दे रहा है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा. Nothing is happening. Self-help में हम we can manage it ourselves because we have accepted that notion कि until the conditions are arranged in a particular order, एक specific तरह से नहीं हो जाती out of circumstances, we are bound to be miserable, and we just make ourselves miserable that way. It's not. बहुत सारी life situations are already in a very good shape for you, right? Many of us are already in the top 5-10% in the country, right? Probably not in the 1%, but probably 5-10% this country ki halat hai, right? So, are we really happy? Wow, we have so many comforts. No, we are still miserable. So that's a notion we have कि अब मैं top 1% में जाके तो I'll definitely be happy. So let me strive for that 1%. So कुछ नहीं है, but at least that's what I think. So the point is, just approval that you are talking about वो बहुत deeper layer पे है, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं we have accepted that notion कि approval मिलेगा then I deserve something. If people think I deserve, then I actually deserve. Then you are seeking approval, and now you know to seek approval, you have to be in career. And that point, you have to look like that and all that. So now, क्योंकि वो deeper level पे है, now you just pursuing that particular look, that particular degree, that particular career achievement. Now you don't think eventually उस career achievement मिलने से मुझे क्या फायदा हो रहा है? लोग मुझे ऐसा सोचेंगे. अच्छा लोग मुझे ऐसा सोचेंगे तो I'll feel good about myself. You can feel good about yourself in any case. But why do you need others to really make that happen? आप अपने आप you can love yourself. बढ़िया बंदी है यार, जितना भी है, I can do my best. नहीं हो रहा तो नहीं हो रहा. And people think, oh, if I become like that, then I'll not do anything in life. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. You will excel, but you will excel in a way that makes you happy, that makes you joyful. Right now you're excelling, you're doing very well in some aspects of your life or many aspects of your life, but many of us are not becoming happier because of that, because we are not excelling in the things which there is a deeper desire. We're excelling in things which you think other people want us to excel in.
Understood. Thank you. I have just one more question, as it's also an extension of what you said about the awareness part. Like when we were talking about learning from a question, if we get a question wrong. So you said something, I think you were answering to my one of the replies only, that that I need to be aware of my habit, which is that my first natural response is like panic. Oh my God, galat ho gaya question. Oh my God, ab kya hoga?
Right.
तो आपने कहा कि aware हो जाओ अपने about your thoughts and your feelings.
Correct.
Then you try to calm yourself, stop those thoughts, and you continue working. So this is something I need to.
No,
Sorry?
it's not about stopping. You can't
Okay.
push them back. Oh,
Okay.
ये क्यों हो रहा है? You will more panic.
Oh, okay.
ठीक है? You can't push your thoughts. You have to just be aware कि ये हैं. Let it be there. It is going to be uncomfortable for some time.
Yeah.
Then it will pass. You say कि हाँ ठीक है. These are there. This is my natural reaction. That's fine. It's not कि natural reaction क्यों है मेरा? कि नहीं होना चाहिए. Don't do that. You'll panic even more.
So basically accept करो कि अभी मेरे को डर feel हो रहा है, अभी I'm too anxious, and slowly I'll get back to my rhythm again.
Yeah. And just try to जितना हो रहा है, you want to take a break, and जितना भी हो रहा है, try to focus कि हाँ there is something to learn. ठीक है? That means I'm improving, and then again reaffirm all the ideas we have talked about, that you can only give your best. Right?
Yeah, thank you so much. This was very helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, so self-awareness is the key. We'll try best. Inspirational, thanks. Recorded lectures, live lectures. What is that? This is a live lecture, Shriram. If you're not getting to our dream university, it's better to wait. Anshul, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि if you can wait, then wait, because बार-बार तो you don't have to do, right? You'll not be doing MBA 10 times. एक ही बारी करनी है. Do it in a proper way. Yeah, Sadhguru is a true slayer. Yeah, Manorma, I'm not sure whether we are here, but yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, me and my wife are listening to what you have said. Sir, I wanted to ask, you have mentioned that human mind keep on growing throughout the life. So wanted to know, sir, people say that after some point of time, there should be stability in the life. You should be at not taking not taking undue risk and has to be stable, get somewhere into stable companies, get down to after 6-7 years of job. So I mean, what you say, like
वो लोग खुश हैं लाइफ में.
so my question is it is it still okay after 6-7 years that, or let's say 7-8 years to be precise, that to take risks, that to go prepare for the exams, and then I mean, like if I prepare for the exam, I need to take out time for my job, and then even with the companies also, shall I go to the companies where I like, or shall I move towards the somewhere where I feel that there is stability is there at this point in time?
नहीं, at this point in time, पहली बात तो I'm not sure where you have heard this idea. हो सकता है common idea, but पहली बात तो whoever has given you this idea कि 6-7 साल के बाद stability चाहिए होती है, you have to see कि उनका GMAT score क्या है, not in terms of GMAT score, in terms of their life score. Are they really joyous people? अगर आपने 10 लोगों से बात करी है, 10 लोग are very happy who are pursuing this safe path. If they are really happy and you think this is the reason they are happy, then of course pursue that. Why not?
Okay.
But if they are also miserable and they are telling you how to be happy, then there is a fundamental problem. मेरा खुद तो score आ नहीं रहा, and then I'm telling everybody this is the way to get this. भाई मेरा क्यों नहीं आ रहा फिर? तो देखो लाइफ दुनिया में एक तो प्रॉब्लम ये है कि everybody knows how to get the life right. ठीक है? So the point is you have to see. For example, of course ये बात है, मैं भी मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से था, तो मेरे अराउंड भी लोग थे, और लोग नहीं भी थे तो ऑफ कोर्स आई लिसन टू मीडिया, मूवीज देखता था. ऐसा तो था नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं देखता था, कभी कभी तो देखता ही था. तो ऐसा तो है नहीं, these ideas are foreign to me कि नहीं ये करना होता है, वो करना होता है, जॉब करनी होती है, स्टेबिलिटी चाहिए ना, ऑल दैट वाज ऑल फाइन. बट जब मैं येस बैंक में था, आई डिड नॉट लाइक द जॉब. So it was miserable, मतलब miserable time for me in a way कि I did not like the job. I'm not sure how miserable I was. Right, misery is still a choice. The circumstances can't force misery on you. They can be very unfavorable, but you can still choose to be fine. Okay, I'm not sure how miserable I was. Probably I was miserable to an extent, but how much I don't know. But the job was not to my liking at all. It was a sales role, not a retail sales role. I was from IM, so at a corporate sales role. So, but whatever, I was a relationship manager. I did not like the job at all. तो मुझे होता था कि यार मैंने सबसे सुना हुआ है कि यार you have to struggle, you have to work hard, तभी लाइफ बनती है. That's how you do well in your life. ये थोड़े ना कुछ भी चीज पसंद नहीं है, you just leave it and move on in life. So then you are just evading hard work. कि right now ठीक है, पसंद नहीं है, तो you have to do that hard work, you have to have the discipline, right? These are the ideas that I had heard. So फिर मैंने देखा, मैं कहा चलो if I do hard work, then क्या होगा? In 2 years I'll be at, or 5 years I'll be at my boss's level. In 10 years I'll be at my boss's boss level. In 20 years I'll be the president of the division. ठीक है? I looked up to them. Are they happier? सारे दुखी थे. So मतलब I did not have motivation to work hard. कि भैया मैं work hard करूं, ठीक है, I'm willing to work hard, but I have need to see कि मुझे कुछ मिलने वाला है. These all are miserable people. They are just miserable for different reasons, for probably bigger reasons. But ऐसा तो था नहीं, they were happier. Oh wow, I want to be like them. नहीं, they are also worried, they are also miserable. So I did not have any motivation to work hard when I was a DS band. और जब मैं जैसे I used to go to संगत गुरबानी वगैरह जहाँ पे होती है, तो वहाँ पे I used to look at many old people also. They were used to laugh. बच्चों की तरह हंसते थे. मुझे कि भाई ऐसा बनना है मुझे. I don't want to be those long faced people. कि भैया जितने बड़े हो रहे हैं उतने ही they are miserable. I want to be like these people who can laugh even at this age. So I was clear कि this is not the path that I want to pursue. I'm not saying this you should leave your job and all that. but I was clear that this is not the way. I would want to do a job that I like, whether I'm earning less or not. So essentially मैंने जब सोचा था I would get into university. मैंने जब छोड़ी yes bank, I was thinking let's get into University of Delhi. I'll be a lecturer. I'll earn 50,000 a month, which is much less than I was earning, and of course the potential for growth is also very limited. But I was like 50,000 में बहुत है, life अच्छी बीत जाएगी. I like what I do. कुछ और करना होगा साथ साथ कुछ और कर लेंगे. I left it. So उसके बाद that didn't happen because वो government है. It works in a certain way. They are like कि तुम IIM से हो, but IIM में तो degree नहीं मिलती, diploma मिलता है. so so whatever. So so वहाँ पे it was taking time. हो तो जाता शायद. It was taking time. Then GMAT happened. मेरे I was started looking कुछ कर लेते हैं. Then GMAT happened. GMAT join कर लिया. Then after GMAT I thought कि नहीं test prep तो यार कब तक करेंगे, अब स्कूल एजुकेशन में करते हैं something which adds more value. मतलब मेरे my motivation was to add more value. It was not to earn more money. I was earning decently. There was ample growth opportunities. There were ample growth opportunities there. So मैंने कहा चलो ये कर लेते हैं. फिर then I started creating videos for 9th class की math. They are still there on YouTube. वो करी. फिर then I got lost कि अब मैं क्या करूँ. ऐसे वीडियो से बनाता रहूँ कब तक बनाता हूँ and all that. उसके बाद there were certain things that happened in my life. मतलब जो मुझे लगा कि even if I can get everybody into IIT, मैं पढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, तो even if I make सबके फंडे clear, everybody gets into IIT, will they be happier? So my point was नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है, IITs वाले लोग happy होते हैं. तो मैंने कहा फिर क्वेश्चन आया कि if I have not made them happier, have I really added value? Then the question was pertinent कि if I have not made people happier, have I really added value? पर मैं तो value add करने की कोशिश कर रहा था. So then I started reading a lot about spirituality. I was in any case involved with spirituality for many years by then, but then I wrote this website backtogurbani.org. And but then 1.5 साल I kept doing that. I was not earning anything for that 1.5 years. Then bank balance भी zero हो गया था almost. And then I think life अंदर से मुझे calling आने लगी that it's time to move on. Then I thought कि मैं कहाँ जाऊँ, कुछ तो आता नहीं है, GMAT ही आता है. So I thought कि let's enter into private tutoring. But now I'm into private tutoring. It's doing very well. But then मुझे लग रहा है कि नहीं, I think the main value that I can add is in the spirituality life space. I am now again thinking of venturing out. So my life is stable. No, stability को तो मैं छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ. Life is, if you are seeking safety, that's a different thing. But joy may not always come with safety. Yeah, at times you may need to make that choice. If I decide कि नहीं यार GMAT सब कुछ बढ़िया चल रहा है, I'm adding value, people are happy, so मैं क्यों कुछ और करूँ? I know कि अंदर से कोई है जो खुश नहीं होगा with that decision. I can't control that person जो भी अंदर है जो खुश नहीं होगा. That is not in my hand. The only thing that is in my hand is to follow that or not, whatever that is demanding. If I want to make that person happy, whoever is demanding me to move on. So if I want to be happy, then I have to do that. Otherwise, I can choose a safe path. GMAT करता रहूं, अच्छा earning and everything. It will be a safe path. But will I be happier? I don't think so. That's why I'm trying to go off.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. I've been trying to prepare for GMAT for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, not being able to concentrate to study enough to score that high. Just to give an idea, I'm working targeting MBA. तो यार मतलब एक तो अरित्रा one thing is कि take out time before you go to work, because generally people who try to study after coming from work, they find it hard to concentrate. Because that's one thing. Try to create your schedule in a way. if you have to start your work earlier, then rise even earlier than that, probably 5 a.m. or whatever time you need to wake up. And then stick to that time and create a daily kind of schedule. And weekly you can create schedule ki daily mujhe ye karna hai. So that daily whenever you sit to study, you don't have to take calls ki aaj main CR karoon aise. Otherwise you'll end up wasting a lot of time just thinking or making those decisions daily. So make that decision once a week and just implement that throughout the week. Okay. Yes, Raghav. You can unmute yourself. You need not ask me.
Hello.
Yeah, Raghav.
Hi, CJ.
Yeah, hi.
So CJ, I'll tell you where I'm coming from. As you just mentioned that, honestly, I could not ascertain that how serious you were while you made that statement. I just want to understand that whether you are seriously looking for, moving to the spirituality side, because honestly, sir, मुझे मेरा GMAT रहता है अभी, इसलिए मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ.
नहीं, अभी इतनी जल्दी नहीं जा रहा. It might
अभी
couple of years at least. I don't know at least, but I mean, it's not immediate.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why I'm asking this. I had emailed you back in 2019 when I initially wanted to step up for the GMAT.
Okay.
But then I thought that, maybe I should prioritize my work experience more. Did that, done that, have it now. So, and I'll tell you why GMAT. I got promoted to the consultant level in a tier 1 consulting firm. My partner came up to me and said कि यार मैं तुम्हें पैसे नहीं दे सकता because you belong to the stream 2 of employees. I asked him, sir, stream 2 क्या होता है? He told me that you are not a tier 1 or tier 2 MBA, nor a chartered.
Okay.
So I from this I want to understand CJ कि अगर एक इंसान काम कर पा रहा है, organizations need work, why they are so much rigid about the MBA degree in specific? Because at the end of the day I am able to conclude कि उन्हें पेपर पे लिखा हुआ चाहिए कि हाँ this XYZ person is from ISB/ABC, तो हाँ he or she is fit for my profile.
Right.
Is it the reality, or those courses are actually adding to my mental curriculum कि हाँ business ऐसे चलाना है यार, ऐसे पैसा कमाया जाता है, ऐसे I can be an asset to the organization I would be working for? What's the reality, CJ? I just want to know it.
देखो इसमें दो एस्पेक्ट्स हैं. एक तो ये है कि MBA is of course I believe it's a useful degree. ठीक है, तो it's not that it doesn't add value, but the point is some people of course may have added that value through other avenues. Right? It's not that whatever value MBA adds you can't add through any other means, right? Or it could be that you become brilliant in many other ways that even MBAs are not, right? But as far as the utility of MBA is concerned, there is. But does that mean a non-MBA is always worse than than an MBA? No, I don't believe that, and I think that's not realistically possible. Ki har non-MBA is worse off than an MBA. Now the second thing is then why do companies do that? Bhagwan jane. Now is that in your control? No. So by cribbing about it, worrying about it, is that going to help you? Is that going to help you in some way by cribbing about it, thinking about it? Raghav, would that
No,
help?
CJ, no, CJ did not help me. However, so when he made that statement, when my partner made this statement, it really hit me though कि हाँ यार, मतलब I need to have a professional degree. Otherwise, my efforts are not being
Life
accounted for
सारे
in the.
constraints हैं, Raghav. So देखो बहुत सारी चीजें होंगी which you may not like कि ऐसे होना चाहिए वैसे होना चाहिए. Life works in a certain way. You may of course join another company which doesn't do that. Or if every company does that, You have two choices now: get an MBA and get that level of package, or not get MBA and then just continue with the package. Let's say these are the only two choices you have. Of course, the other choice, you can change your company, change your partner, as somebody is saying. These are choices you have. Now, instead of exercising any of these choices, you are essentially bemoaning कि ऐसी choice क्यों नहीं है कि existing ही partner, existing ही job में, existing ही education level पे मुझे increment दे दे. अब वो नहीं है life में choice, right? At every aspect of our life, कुछ choices होंगी और कुछ नहीं होंगी, right? जैसे हम लोगों की होती है यार 3 महीने में GMAT क्यों नहीं हो सकता? नहीं हो सकता तो नहीं हो सकता. That's not a choice you have. You can waste your 3 months, or you can properly study and get it done in, let's say, 1 year. But that's not a choice you have to get it done in 3 months. Sorry. Similarly, you don't have a choice कि सब कुछ same रख के and you get a increment. Now, the only choice you have is to crib about it, which a lot of feel vindicated about. कि नहीं मेरा I deserve to crib about it. But the point is that whatever you deserve, essentially you're having a negative experience of your life, which is not helping you in any way. Right? हो सकता था वो time जो cribbing, negative energy में you are wasting, you could have used in some other way. Probably learned some more skills, which probably this company may not value, but some other person may value. Right?
Right, CJ.
So we feel a lot of you deserve है, ये तो मतलब cribbing तो बनती है यहाँ पे. ठीक है, you do your cribbing. कितना time करना है? करते रहो, पूरी जिंदगी करते रहो. How will that help? Right? चेक करने को तो एक भी दिन ना करो. Then how will we change? अगर हम क्रिब ही नहीं करेंगे नहीं. When you get to that level, you see कि this is absurd. Change it. Right? अभी उस लेवल पे हो नहीं. Right? People मतलब I see a lot of people start worrying कि मोदी ये कर रहा है, मोदी वो कर रहा है, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. And they are like all tensed. अफगानिस्तान में ये हो रहा है. भैया वो that is not in your control. मतलब you can worry about it. That's good. मतलब that's a choice you are making. The point is, can you do something constructive about it? Do that and move on. Engaging in negativity is not helping anybody, is not changing the system also. Rather, if you indulge in a lot of negativity, you will see that after a certain time, you will start justifying negativity. जो तुम खुद भी कर रहे हो, वो भी तुम justify करोगे, मेरे साथ आज तक ऐसे हुआ है. If you indulge in negativity today, tomorrow you're going to justify negative things that you will be doing. If you don't want to do that, if you really want to change the system, don't engage in negativity.
But sir, at the same time, I also, when you tell me that I do not need to engage in negativity, I understand that at fact value. However, at the same time, I don't know why I have this feeling in my within me that doesn't being positive somewhere means that one is kind of delusional. Doesn't it mean that, or having this particular thought process is itself delusional?
हाँ तो ठीक है. तो मतलब essentially you are thinking in reality you should suffer, but if you decide to not suffer, then you are delusional, right?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
So, do you want me to respond to that?
Yes, sir. I would be really happy if you can.
But the question is obvious. Essentially, you're saying in reality you should suffer. But if you're delusional, if you do not suffer, be delusional,
Okay.
suffer करना है life में तुम्हें, right? Right? मतलब the point is कि suffering is not the only choice you have. मतलब हमने सोच लिया कि नहीं, this is the only way to respond to this. There is a lot of unfairness, lot of things happening. ये बहुत छोटी बात है, पार्टनर ने बोल दिया, लोगों के साथ बहुत कुछ होता है लाइफ में. The only thing is, what can you do? Can you change those things? Then go ahead and change those things. If you can't, then you can keep doing your best in whatever avenues you think you can do best, or you can indulge in negativity. But if you indulge in negativity, the only thing is you have to understand it's a choice that you are making. It's not the default. It's not the only thing that is possible. Okay. When you take responsibility, now people don't want to take responsibility. They think banta hai. Then you're not taking responsibility for your reactions. But by removing that responsibility, you're also removing a chance to change your reactions. So then you're always suffer thinking this is the only way to react. There is another way. I'm not saying it's going to be easy or it's going to be just कि 2 महीने बाद it's going to be a natural way, but कभी ना कभी change करना पड़ेगा, या फिर you will always keep coming ये क्यों हो रहा है वो क्यों हो रहा है.
Okay. Got it, CJ. Thank you.
Thinking of writing about mindfulness is the key. Question is, tell us about one goal that you want to achieve. What steps are you taking to achieve, get closer to that goal? What do you think it's a good idea? I don't know. Dekho, you can think about somebody has a, okay, this is a direct message that I'm thinking of writing about mindfulness, stillness in my B school essay. Do you think it's a good idea? You have to think essentially they have their own objectives to meet. Do you think you're going to add value to the cohort there or to the school there in some way? Then you can, of course, I think, talk about it and then see how it's going to add value to the school. Okay, that they can understand. Right? क्योंकि अभी मैंने कई सारी चीजें बोली, काफी लोगों को समझ नहीं आएंगे. They'll be like कि क्या बोली जा रहा है, right? But if your admission committee thinks like that for you कि क्या बोल रहा है, then you are a gone case. So you have to think कि उनको क्या समझ आएगी, communicate that, and then see कि whatever you are talking about, how is it going to add value to their cohort or their preschool. ठीक है, चलें हम. It's been 2 hours.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Raghav. Chalo, okay then, guys. Good night.
Sir, one more question. One more question before we end this call.
Mhm.
I just wanted to understand the scenario wherein you provide in-person sessions.
Hmm.
Do they happen at your center in Vikaspuri, or how do
All
you
happen
basically
online.
curate?
All happen online. There is no in-person happening anymore.
Okay.
All sessions are online now.
Okay. And if we want to meet you, how are we supposed to do that? I am really curious about this one.
You can email me first. Okay, then we can
Okay.
have a conversation from there.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, CJ.
Okay.
Thanks, Atan.
Okay. Okay. Good night, guys. Take care. Have a good Sunday and remaining good Saturday.